very excited to do right now is what you've heard all morning is our projects that we have been doing and engaged with. Phase 1 was focused on identity factors and the ways in which they are considered in sport. And what we have done as a result of that work is to bring all of the identity factor groups together. Again, body diversity, social class, disability, gender, race, and indigeneity into one space of what can we do to improve the way that we think about youth sport from a research perspective. And so what Vanessa and I have been leading with all of those teams is what we call a Delphi process, which is essentially gathering insights from leaders in these spaces around what does research look like for youth sport. And so it's a culmination essentially of all phase 1 research that we've done. And I will take a moment too if those of you who have the book that we've already given out or will take one, the book is also a culmination of this phase 1. So it's about looking at the ways in which the research that has taken place, the community partners that presented earlier, and many other reports that we see in the Canadian sports system, how have they been used to answer questions around belonging and meaning and co-creation that we've heard about this morning. And so the Delphi is the last project that is involved in phase 1. So I'm going to turn it over to Vanessa to walk you through it.
Thanks. So it was kind of hard to just put together 3 learnings through the Delphi process. As you'll see on the next slide, I'll go more through the consultation process that we've had, and there will also be an opportunity for everyone to take part in round 2. There's 3 rounds. But through the first round and the second round, the first sort of learning was that equity-focused recommendations cannot succeed if systems are not designed for implementation. So we've had tons of questions and comments come in that have been raised by all the researchers, community partners, various experts across Canada, as well as our youth, around the actual feasibility, implementation, capacity, and accountability. So taking in all of these recommendations that we've put together, and the second learning will kind of get into how they were all compiled, but just really being mindful that, this isn't just another report. We're not just putting words out there that we keep hearing, but how can we actually be very intentional about what these recommendations are. So within that whole process, 4 core areas consistently emerged in our consultation process in coming together with these recommendations. And so that was data collection, program development and delivery, community and industry collaboration, and knowledge dissemination. And these 4 domains are sort of what we're terming as research within RE.sport. And we'll share more of this on the website and when this final report comes out. Is there anything you want to add to those?
No, just that then becomes what our definition of research is. So it's very all-encompassing. It's, we have a very comprehensive definition of research that's founded on the many, many voices that we've had through phase 1.
Awesome. So then our third is that sustainable change actually requires ongoing reflection, adaptation, and shared decision-making. So you'll see on the next slide, but we started this in February last year, and to get it to the point that we actually had recommendations, there was so much reflection, adaptation. Even now, we spend more time than we thought in actually adapting the next set of recommendations from originally what came in and what was shared from all of our researchers.
And just to add, because I think it is an awesome learning from this perspective, is and I think there was a question earlier this morning too around how do we think of these identity factors as intersecting, or how do we look at them as a unifying concept rather than all these individual identity factors. And that was one of the main takeaways from the early phases of this Delphi process. Was we started out with having recommendations for each of those identity factor groups, and then when we captured them all and we went through them, there was a lot of overlap. Now, it's not to say that there's not a lot of nuance to them, but what we went from is we had all of the guidelines in those different 5 identity factor groups, or 6 6. Can't count. And then once we culminated them, they went down to a larger group. And then once the group is set, once the Delphi process is finished, then all of those guidelines will then be revisited by all of the identity factor groups to add the nuance to them. So it's a very iterative process, I would say.
Yes, very much so. So this is kind of the process. Well, it is. Oh, I'm getting getting the red flag. But yeah, if you want to take a picture of it and come back to it, or we're always happy to chat more about it. But two sort of actions that we have is moving beyond recommendations towards accountability and implementation planning, and then working towards building ongoing collaborative structure. So not just a one-time consultation. So thinking through, what does the evaluation of these actually look in practice, and how do we keep the conversations going? So on that, our reflection, and I'm actually going to open it up to all of you, and you can ask us questions in the 10 minutes as well. But we just love, from all of the expertise in the room, how do we move beyond creating another report? So once we have like the final set of recommendations, what can we do to actually create meaningful, sustainable change across youth sport and physical activity systems? Who do we need to bring on board? Where does this need to go? If there are any thoughts on that, and then I'll be done talking. For the next steps, so round 3 will be available soon. We chatted with our software management team, Polygon, who is heading this process, and they have opened it, like kept round 2 open for anyone who wants to jump into the Delphi. So all you'll do is scan the QR code, take the eligibility survey that everyone had to, and then they will send an email. You'll be in round 2. We'll keep that open for a little bit longer, and then analyze round 2, and then round 3 will be out.